Hey, so last time we left off, I was working on this nesting box, which I had finished. Now it's time to try and install it. But first, I just had to finish the pallet floor that I'm working on and make the opening bigger for the nesting box to go into. So I'm measuring everything so I can cut the opening to the right size to fit the nesting box in. And now I decided to try and go in from the inside to install the nesting box, but clearly that was not the right choice, but I tried. So then take it out and then try again from the outside. And well, that's how I ended up getting it. It still took a lot of work. I didn't really account for how the little nesting box roof overhangs a little on the sides, and so I had to really keep messing around with the opening to get it to get in there good, but I'll make it seem like it was easy in this video. And here it is, installed for the most part. I do a little detailing around the edges and clean it up, do some trim eventually, and I cut off all the excess hardware cloth and stuff, but that's pretty much it. Installed. It's not leaking or anything, it's staying dry. I had snow built up on it and everything. And now here I'm measuring just for the door, trying to figure out the entrance, like the front entrance of the coop for the chickens, and an access door for me. I'm just like trying to figure out, I'm measuring the coop and everything, trying to figure out what I should do so I can have a door to open to clean the inside of the coop, and so I can put their door in. So here's what I came up with. I made a frame out of pallets, and there's a hole on the left and on the right, and on the left side here, that's going to be the door where I open up, and on the right side, that'll be for the chicken's door. And I just Brad nailed it together, glued it with pallets, and that was weird. So that's how I came up with the front part, the entrance, and I have it all clamped together, and I'm trying to come up with a way to open it. I first tried this little swivel clasp thing or whatever, but there was a lot of play, and then I ended up with this idea. I just used two conduit straps and a piece of wood and screws as stoppers, and I made a little latch, I guess. So yeah, you just push it up. Now I can open it. So that's the door I'll open to clean the inside of their coop. And it stays nice and tight when I shut it. I'm pretty proud of that little latch I made. Here's a little clip showing kind of why I'm moving their coop and just some of the annoyances of the coop I made, or the run. I'm using these sliding doors, and we got a bunch of ice, and I couldn't even open the doors. I have to open these metal shed doors to collect the eggs, and there's always stuff getting stuck in the tracks. And since I've been struggling with the doors so much, the roller at the top broke off, and now it's just really annoying to close. So definitely wouldn't recommend sliding doors for your chicken coop. So I also realized I had to adjust the doors on this coop. Since they swing out in the winter, I can't open them, so I had to go up a couple feet and cut cut them so I could open the top section when we get a lot of snow and still get in there. I won't have to go in that often, but I do want to be able to access it in the winter because it's so low to the ground it won't open when there's even like a little bit of snow. So that was an adjustment I made. I just had to figure out like putting a piece of wood on the top part too so it seals up that gap in between the two, and then put another latch there, but I can easily step over it and get in when I need to. So that was a necessary change to make before I could move forward. And here's the doors all finished. I had to add one more latch to the bottom. And so I was really excited to see how the front part would attach to the coop, so I started doing that and then fitting the more poly for the top part, but then I realized I had to take it off and finish up the inside of the coop. I had to put the roosting bars up and just I put some reflectix on the roof to keep their heat in and keep it a little bit darker in there so not everything is so clear. And I ended up putting some reflectix on the left side up towards the top of the coop, also to block some light and keep their heat in when they're roosting at night in the winter and everything. And I put reflectix on the bottom under the floor to keep that insulated and not so much air draft through there and stuff. So I do have a vent up towards the top, up at the top corner. You can kind of see it there. That corner at the top is open, so I can, in the winter I might put something in front of that to close it, but I think that's a pretty good size vent, and even in the winter that might be not too much air getting in for them to be cold. I'm also working on filling any bigger gaps, so here I spray foamed above the top of the nesting box and then put some metal trim over that so if they poop it doesn't really get caught in any gaps. And I'm just trying to be conscious of keep this coop being able to be easily cleaned and not having a bunch of spaces where poop is going to go when they're sleeping at night and everything. Here, and I'm also I'm spray foaming some of the gaps in this roofing out here. I bought these little plastic things to fill that in, but then there was still some gaps, so I spray foamed some of that and just making everything airtight besides where I want them to have a vent. I don't want it to be too drafty for them in here, so everything's pretty tight now besides that vent, which I will eventually put a removable cover on maybe, or something to figure out the winter time, but I think even if I didn't cover it, it would probably be okay. Spray foamed that section there, just so now it's pretty airtight. I had extra spray foam, so I just spray foamed any joints that I have where I'm connecting metal to wood or metal to metal, even just to maybe strengthen it up a little more, and why not use it up. So yeah, everything's pretty sealed up. I put that flashing there to seal up the gap between the nesting box and where it connects to the coop, so it's not a little poop shelf. Yeah, that's about it for the inside, and then I'll work on putting the front part back on. And here I am attaching the front door section for the final time, and then I'm redoing how I attached the poly. Originally it was going in front of the wood, but then I realized it would be in the way of the automatic door, so I cut it back and then put it in between the two layers of wood I have there. I think that finishes it off really nice. Now I'm attaching their automatic door, the Adore Store chicken door, which is a really nice high quality door. automatic chicken door that goes off of the light, so it opens when the sun rises and closes when it gets dark. And works really well. I just followed their instructions by the size opening to have when I built that little frame, and this is the first day I decided to move the chickens out of their coop, and it was the day I basically finished installing the door section on the new coop, so I decided to just move them in. I just brought them out to the yard. I moved their feeder and water in there, and when it started to get dark, I just came out with some dried soldier fly larva treats and sprinkled them in. Chickens went in. They've been in here before because I used it as a chicken tractor for a little while, so they're used to it at least. And after they realized they had to go around the door, they went in. Put a little material in their nesting boxes and hoping they will lay in here tomorrow morning. Here they are. Like, this is their first night in here. They know where the water is. Like, chickens are smart. Plus, it's their water and feeder they were using already. It's not like I changed everything for them. I was overthinking this a lot. Like, I was gonna transition them into this new coop, but it went so smooth. Like, it was perfect. Like, I'm glad I thought about it. I think I thought about it a little too much. I'm gonna eventually make their feeder smaller and attach it to the coop itself, so when I move it, I don't have to move the feeder. And I want to also make a little gutter on this thing and have a small water jug to fill up for them. Can't be too big because I want to keep this thing light so I can move it easily. That was kind of the whole idea the whole time I'm building this, is to try to keep it as light as possible. And this is later on the first day I brought them out. I just went out to see if they were roosting, and I had a light out there so they could see the roosting bars, and they weren't roosting yet. So I did have to put one chicken up on the roosting bars, and then that light I had out there didn't seem to be enough for them. So I brought out my bright flashlight and shined it up there, and then they saw the chicken up there, and the rest of them started to roost. It took a few minutes, but I just kept the light there, and they were able to get into position. There was one chicken the first night that didn't roost, but it slept in the nesting box, and then the next night they were all roosting together. So it didn't take them long to learn the new coop. And I just had to take a couple pictures the first night. It just felt surreal, kind of, and a little bit magical, that it went so smoothly moving them in. And just almost a year ago, I started building this thing from scraps, and it's come such a long way, but it took a lot of patience and took a lot of time. It also blew over in the wind once, and I considered just like giving up, but just kept going, attaching piece by piece, and just building this thing pretty much out of scraps. The only things I really bought were the hardware cloth, some galvanized strapping, the handle for the door and the latches and the screws and the trim pieces, and I bought these hand truck wheels to move it around. So just really small things considering how much I did for free. It's like probably 80% free. Considering that, I think it came out pretty well. Let me know what you guys think. And then this is the next morning. They were already laying eggs in their nesting box. That was another main thing. Like that was a big part of why their other coop was annoying, because I had to open those doors each time I wanted to collect the eggs because their nesting box was inside their coop. And so yeah, I really took my time and designed this so it was easy to maintain, and
Thank you, Chicks.
And it just feels really nice when it all comes together at the end. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel, because I'm always doing stuff like this and try to put out videos as often as I can. So I really appreciate the support. Thank you guys. Take care.